Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Tuesday?
Patriots win. Patriots win.
What a win it was. My God.
52-yard field goal with 15 seconds left.
There was something weird about that game. That's why I took the 8. I did not expect a win, but I just knew the way Drake May was playing, I just thought, you know what, this game's going to be close. Because even Mac Jones had some success against the Bills. Last time we saw him, he had a late game drive against them to win to Mike Gesicki. So Drake May's playing out of his mind right now. He outplayed Josh Allen. There was a beautiful throw. Stephon Diggs had a great game against his former team. He said it was personal. Well, we saw that on the field. It's a great day always. Week 5. We did, at least I did a little bit better in the point spread. 5-1 in the Harvey hot hand. 5-1 after being screwed week after week after week. We finally bounced back here. We're going to continue it because there's a lot of great games. We have to lock in some picks today if necessary. I think some point spreads are going to move drastically, and we've already seen that. But as always on Tuesday, I'm going to start us off today. We have a lot of topics to talk about, but I want to get into the breaking news that broke today, which is, in fact, that the Bengals decided to upgrade a quarterback. Or is it upgrade? But it definitely was a change because they signed Joe Flacco. They traded for him for a 5th-round pick. Joe Flacco, 40-year-old Joe Flacco that just got benched by the Cleveland Browns we're talking about, who are arguably the worst team in the NFL. And they traded a 5th-round pick for him to replace Jake Browning. And they think that's an upgrade. They think that the whole notion is this will keep them in playoff contention in the AFC North. When statistically, the comparison between these two, you could argue Joe Flacco is actually a downgrade to Jake Browning. And Browning was getting booed all game on Sunday. And these are the numbers. They're virtually the same quarterback, and you could argue Jake Browning's a little bit better. He has a higher yards per pass, a higher completion percentage, more touchdowns, slightly more interceptions, but more touchdowns and a higher passer rating. I mean, I don't understand what the Bengals are doing. I don't think Zac Taylor realizes that he will probably get fired this year if they continue this horrible streak of being a bottom 3 team in the NFL. And that's what their statistics say. Because based on their rankings, the Bengals are 32nd in offense, 30th in defense, 29th in points scored, 30th in points allowed. The Bengals are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And this was actually a game where they had an opportunity to win several times, or at least gain a lead and make it respectable. But instead, the Bengals decided to fail and fail and fail again. And what I'm actually really upset about is that Zac Taylor and Jake Browning kept being like, no, it's my fault. No, it's my fault. No, it's actually my fault. Oh, it was very obvious in the game whose fault it was. Because when you have 3 unpressured interceptions, where one of them, you literally threw it to a guy who didn't have to move, yeah, I think it falls on you. Zac Taylor said, well, it's my play calling. That's true. It's the same thing with Shane Steichen. We knew Shane Steichen's play calling was fine. Anthony Richardson just couldn't complete a pass. In this case, Jake Browning was throwing it too many times to the opposing team. And what also is really, really tragic is that Jamar Chase was tied for the 2nd most tackles on the Cincinnati Bengals, and he plays offense. He had 3 tackles in the game because Jake Browning threw 3 picks. It was really, really bad. But my major concern is, you're signing a quarterback who was just on one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, and based on pass blocking, the Bengals are actually the worst pass blocking team in the NFL. They're the worst, 30th in sacks allowed, tied for 20th in QB hits allowed, 27th in QB hurries allowed, 28th in total pressures, dead last in pass block efficiency. And that's because you spend almost the least on the offensive line. You don't have a great running back group. Chase Brown doesn't really do much. I don't think he was a good running back to begin with. But we're seeing now that he is actually one of the lowest yards before contact in the NFL. So you got to be kidding me. If the Bengals think this is an upgrade, there's something seriously wrong with Mike Brown and this entire organization. Because there is no way you think a 40-year-old Joe Flacco is going to go out there and just because what? He had over 300 yards per game a couple years ago with the Cleveland Browns. Have you seen what he's done lately? Not much. He's 1-3. He has 6 interceptions. The reason why you're getting off of Jake Browning is because he keeps throwing way too many interceptions. The offense is stagnant. We just saw him get benched because the Cleveland Browns offense couldn't move 5 inches. I don't understand this play whatsoever. I think it's utterly ridiculous. And this is why. This is another example. This game, this season, the past 2 off seasons is the reason why the Bengals, since Sportico came out with these team valuations back in 2020, they have been the 32nd highest valued team in the NFL. Dead last, 5 straight years, 6 straight years actually. So are you kidding me? This just shows the incompetency of the front office. This shows a lack of coaching. This is malpractice on every single facet when it comes to playing, coaching, front office, everything. That whole tier is a complete mess because you went from Jake Browning, who looked absolutely horrible, I don't think anyone's disputing that, to a 40-year-old quarterback who just got benched for a rookie, who, by the way, in the game against the Vikings over in London, it seemed like he was playing more to not lose than to win because there were a lot of throws he left out on the field. And Joe Flacco got benched for that. So he goes from a really bad offensive line to the worst offensive line. I don't understand the move at all. The defense in this game had several opportunities. I mean, we're talking about drives where it was punt, punt, punt for the Lions before they scored another touchdown. And the only reason why they scored their second touchdown was because you threw a pick very much in your own zone, and they only had to go 17 yards to score that touchdown. Otherwise, it was punt, 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 fumble. I mean, there were several. Your defense actually was fine. The score obviously doesn't say that because the Lions dropped 37 points, which, by the way, 2 of those is because Jake Browning took a safety at the very end of the game. Thank you for that, by the way. You gave me a beauty. You maintained that point spread for me in order to cover that 10.5. We appreciate that one over here at the Harvey Hour. But I don't think the score really told the story here because the offense was abysmal through 3 quarters. The defense actually did an okay job. There were opportunities for you to score, but it was punt, 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 pick, pick, pick. It was really bad. The Lions, I mean, to be honest, when I watched this game, I'm like, because I had the Lions winning and covering by 11 or more, I actually got a little bit nervous because the game was, I mean, it felt closer than what the score was. Obviously, on paper, you look at it and say, okay, Jared Goff only threw 4 incompletions. He had 3 touchdowns on the day. But I thought, damn, Bengals have a shot to make this at least respectable and close. And we can talk about how he battled at the very end. I thought the Lions actually took their foot off the gas a little bit at the very end, which I was a little bit surprised at, just because I don't think Dan Campbell would have let that happen. But Zac Taylor, before he even made this decision, because it took the entire stadium to boo them through 4 straight quarters, for Zac Taylor to finally realize, yeah, we should actually, get a new quarterback. Because before this, his whole mantra was, and this is a direct quote, I've got a ton of confidence in Jake. I'm unwavering in that. I've seen the best of Jake. Are we really sure? Because the last time we saw Jake Browning in any massive capacity was at the very end of the 2023-24 season. And they ended that series with a 31-14 win over the Browns. Jake Browning played fine. They dominated the Browns. But here's a little bit of the context to it. The Cleveland Browns starting quarterback was Jeff Driscoll. I think Cam Ward could beat Jeff Driscoll right now. Kyler Murray. You think Joe Flacco right now could beat Jeff Driscoll? I don't think that's really something to go out and be, oh yeah, we beat the Browns. I feel you beat a quarterback who I don't even think is in the league right now. So I think this, yes, he had a couple of good games and you gave the Jaguars their only loss. I think the Jaguars just absolutely were terrible in that game. Jake Browning threw 3 picks and they somehow came on top. I have no idea how. But I think ultimately this will be a horrible decision for the the Cincinnati Bengals, because this is basically a soft tank. You're telling me a 40-year-old Joe Flacco who can't move behind a bad offensive line, now going to your team with a worse offensive line, will keep you in playoff contention just close enough to when Joe Burrow gets back in 2.5 months? The logic doesn't, this move is illogical because it doesn't help you in the least. You had Kirk Cousins out there, you had Russell Wilson, you had Jameis Winston. By the way, Zac Taylor said they never even thought about contacting the Giants about either of their backup quarterbacks. What? Jameis Winston, the guy who threw for 5,000 yards one season. Yeah, he'd have 30 picks, but at least he could sling the ball to the receivers. For 3 quarters, Jamar Chase was just trying to, hope and pray the ball comes his way. Same thing with T. Higgins. I don't think there's going to be any playmakers for since they'll try. But Joe Flacco so far this season has 1 touchdown to 3 picks. That's his ratio, 1-3. It's probably the ugliest ratio in the NFL right now, although Geno Smith is very close to that because he can't stop throwing interceptions. To me, this makes no sense. It's a classic Cincinnati Bengals move. As of the last 3-4 seasons, they can't get anything right. They're not spending on the offensive line. Their best defender is going to be gone by the end of the year. They're probably going to need to clean house when it comes to head coaching and his coordinators because nothing's really changed. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL, which we expected, and they are the worst offense in the NFL. They can't run the football. Some people thought Chase Brown would be able to lead the backing group. I never thought Chase Brown was a good running back. I expected them to not have a very good running game. 29th in passing yards. I think this is ultimately, a horrible decision, but yeah, this is just bad. If you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I feel for you. And he's talking about how he wants to put butts in seats and sell out crowds like they know. Joe Flacco's not putting butts in seats. He's not selling out any crowds here. He's not selling out stadiums. Because once you realize that he can't move and the offensive line essentially is non-existent because every defender could basically just run right through them, who's going to want to watch that? Everyone's hoping Joe Burrow comes back and he somehow has this miraculous comeback and can hopefully come back next week, which is literally impossible. That's what they're hoping. There's a miracle. Joe Burrow limps out there and he might be better. This is just ultimately a horrible, horrible decision. But then again, I'm not that shocked. The Cincinnati Bengals are cheap. What do you get a 40-year-old quarterback who doesn't cost anything. Jameis Winston costs more. Russell Wilson costs more. You go get a cheap quarterback. He's 40 years old, can't move. Let me just quickly check again. Let's bring up the numbers just for the audience here. Look at the comparison. Oh, yeah, horrible. 2 touchdowns, 6 picks, a passer rating of 60. Yeah, he has more passing yards per game, but he has a lower completion percentage, and he has 1 win over the Green Bay Packers, who, funny enough, they're playing this week. Will he play? I have no idea. Will they send out Jake Browning again? Maybe. I don't know. But speaking about bad decisions, this story is crazy, and I kind of expected it because Bill Belichick with UNC is plummeting faster than I think a lot of people expected, although I'm sure some people thought it never would work. It's getting worse and worse and worse as the weeks go on, because now a new report from WRAL says that parents and players are growing frustrated by nepotism, preferential treatment of transfers, and overall lack of culture in the program, calling it, quote, an unstructured mess and a complete disaster. So much so that it gets even worse. Remember we heard the thing about Robert Kraft and how Belichick's not allowing Patriots scouts to be at UNC and stuff like that? Well, it gets even worse because Ross Martin said this. According to sources inside the UNC football program, it is a directive from the staff, Bill Belichick, to not tweet or retweet anything Patriots related. That's clearly why UNC football has not posted anything from Drake May's electric primetime win over the Buffalo Bills. It took nearly 24 hours for UNC. It took 2 hours, but from when the game happened, it took UNC a few hours to basically feel that backlash and then post 1 or maybe 2 highlights of Drake May. Drake May's had a phenomenal year, and it took severe backlash across fans, analysts, former players to realize that what the hell are you doing? We have an alum here who's tearing it up in the NFL, and you did it for Javonte Williams already. You've been doing that for Javonte Williams, but you wouldn't do it for Drake May, who just left your program 2 years ago. But they ultimately did it. But it gets even worse. Because according to WRAL, quote, it's all starting at the top, and the boys are being affected. A parent of a current UNC player said, under the condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation. Seems like Belichick would do that based on his behavior. Quote, I don't fault the players. I fault the leadership that created this toxic environment. That's an individualistic mindset. The boys are young, and they are feeding into it. Steve Belichick apparently has not talked or had a conversation with most of the guys on defense. He's the defensive coordinator. Is Belichick just doing everything and leaving what? The people who actually call the defense just basically not having that connection? Apparently, a lot of players don't even have his number. They just surrendered 72 points in the last 2 weeks, and Clemson opened up this game with a 75-yard trick play touchdown. Apparently, Belichick's is high, while Mike Lombardi, the GM, is, quote, rude and nasty, and nobody likes him. I thought Belichick's whole thing was community. Do your job. Generate this culture. Apparently, according to the inside sources, the culture is an unstructured mess and a complete disaster. I think ultimately this just proves more so why this Belichick thing never was going to work in the first place. So much so, a 3-star recruit wide receiver decommitted for the second time. I mean, and people are even saying this now, like, can you imagine Bill Belichick sitting down with a high school student and be like, yeah, come over to UNC, when he could have other opportunities like Georgia, Oregon, even Clemson. By the way, Clemson's having one of its worst years under Dabo Swinney, and they just absolutely decimated the UNC Tar Heels. But imagine Belichick sitting down and trying to be like, yeah, I can make you an NFL prospect. Well, we have to take a look at the past couple drafts Belichick had and see his analysis of upcoming rookies. 0 Pro Bowls besides Mac Jones' replacement Pro Bowl, so I'm not even counting that right now. And 0 all pros, which I'm pretty sure 99% of his draft picks aren't even on the roster anymore. And I would say most of those players aren't even in the NFL anymore. So how can Belichick develop NFL talent when he didn't even do that the last 4 years of his Patriots tenure? To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why I said even before the season started, that if you're an offensive guy, run for the hills. Because what does Belichick know about offense? All he's done is keep failing in the offensive side of the football. He drafted offensive linemen that were 5th-round prospects in the first round. He drafted a kicker in the 4th round or the 3rd round who ended up being the worst kicker in the NFL his rookie year. So how does Belichick know how to develop things when he didn't even do that on the Patriots for like 4 straight years? He screwed over Mac Jones. He got petty for Lord knows what reason. He put in Bailey Zappi when Bailey Zappi was trash. Then his final parting message was putting Mac Jones as the emergency quarterback 3 without even informing him hours before the game. That's Bill Belichick right now. And he's standing on the sideline. He started Gio Lopez for a number of games, who wasn't very good. Then he put in Johnson, who did a fine job. He at least moved the ball up and down the field. They couldn't score for anything. And then in this game, with 30 seconds left, he decided, let's use all 3 timeouts. So much so, ESPN, with a second left during a timeout that Belichick called, turned away from the broadcast and switched it to, I think, the Florida-Texas game. Because why have it on if Belichick's going to be that petty and keep using, his timeouts for no reason at all? So this has been a mess several times over. And let's just take a look at what Belichick's done for the program. Points scored, 122nd out of 136 FBS teams. Points allowed, a little bit better. Middle of the pack, though, 73rd. Offensive grade by PFF, 121st. And their projected wins, I think they opened with 5.5, maybe 6. It's dropped to 4.3. I think there's a legitimate shot, based on just ESPN projections, that they lose every game the rest of the season, because there is no percentage lower than 68.9 for the opposing team to beat UNC. Most of them are in the mid-70s to mid-80s. So there's a real shot Belichick goes winless the rest of the year, and he beat up on 2 pitiful teams. 2 wins his first collegiate career. I mean, there's a chance he gets fired after 1 year. Supposedly he has a guaranteed 3-year deal, so UNC's paying him $30 million anyway, out of a $50 million contract. And by the way, he had this big documentary that he was going to do on Hulu. Hulu dropped his documentary. Who wants to see it? They're failures. They haven't done anything. There's all this controversy about him and his young girlfriend and all of that. Meanwhile, during an interview, apparently Belichick couldn't answer questions based on how their relationship started. This whole thing is a complete mess. This entire situation is just, it already wasn't great. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Penalties everywhere. I mean, there were, in this game in particular, there was like 3 illegal formation penalties because 5 players were in the backfield. After 1, don't you realize, oh yeah, I can't have 5 players in the back? It happened like 2 or 3 times. I think Belichick's out of his league. And we're saying this about one of the greatest defensive coaches in NFL history who's won 8 rings, and he can't get college right. And that happens. Urban Meyer never got the NFL right. So I think ultimately this is going to be a cataclysmic failure if you don't consider that already. So far what we've seen through, 4 or 5 games of cataclysmic failure. I think it's going to somehow get worse. There's a real shot based on the projection he doesn't win a single game the rest of the year. And what are you going to do if you're UNC? You're losing 3-star recruits. Belichick and some top coach are wondering, how is Belichick getting more players than we are? Turns out he's getting like nobodies. He's getting like 2, 3-star recruits at the very best. Meanwhile, they're trying to get the bigger, better names to be a better team, and Belichick is basically scraping the bottom of the barrel to be a developmental program. So what does he want to do? Because if he is going for success, he's failing at that. If he wants to grow, I don't even think he's passing at that because no player looks like they're really developing into being NFL-ready prospects, which was his whole thing. I want to make this an NFL-ready program, a gateway from college to the NFL. And it's not working at all. It's sad, but it's also based on the end of his Patriots tenure and what he did with Brady and what he did even right at UNC, what he's doing to the Patriots organization, Robert Kraft. It's a horrible image for him. He's doing this to himself. Blocking Patriots scouts. Robert Kraft says, you know what, once he's done coaching, we're going to build him a statue, and he's still doing that. He's saying, no, UNC, you cannot post highlights of Drake May. Whoever's on the Patriots, if they came here from UNC, you can't post about him. And then that backlash, I mean, it's a horrible, horrible look. There's no other way to put it. You can't say, oh, Belichick's doing the right thing, or, oh, no, Belichick's doing a great job at UNC. Where? Well, the eye test doesn't prove it. The stats don't back it up. He put a quarterback who can't play that well out there for the first 3 games. I don't understand it at all. To me, it makes no sense. According to sources inside the UNC football program, it was a directive from the staff, Bill Belichick, to not tweet or retweet anything Patriots related. No, you can't have Patriots scouts here. We don't want them. If they don't want me there, I don't want them there. What are you talking about? Robert Kraft says he's going to build you a statue once you're done coaching. If he's not already, he's going to be in the Patriots Hall of Fame. I mean, that's a given. He's going to make the NFL Hall of Fame. You're widely regarded as still the number 1 head coach in all of NFL history, even though I think that's rapidly changing for, Andy Reid, of course. So it's sad, it's unfortunate, but it's also given based on his attitude, his approach. He looked outcoached and outmatched so far throughout the entirety of college football. His recruiting in the NFL was abysmal. In fact, Kyle Duggar, who actually started his career out very nicely, he was a pretty good player, now the Patriots tried to trade him away. So that would have been just another player who's no longer on the Patriots that Belichick drafted. It's unfortunate. It really is. But, I mean, what are you going to do? That third-star wide receiver said, quote, after much thought and prayer, I've decided to decommit from UNC. I want to thank the UNC coaching staff for the belief in me and the opportunity they've given. I'm also grateful for my family, friends, and everyone who supported me through this process. And this last sentence just proves that he doesn't believe in UNC. My recruitment is now 100% open. It's a bad look. That's all it is. All right, coming up, we got to talk about last night's game. My God, Trevor Lawrence, we've been saying earn that money. Well, last night, I think he started to earn that $55 million per year. We're going to talk about that as well as we break down and analyze every single game throughout the NFL season. We've done that 4 out of the 5 weeks. We're going to do it again this week. And also Thursday Night Football, Eagles, Giants. Both teams took a fat L this past week. Which team will bounce back and get this W on Thursday? We're going to talk about that right after this break.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic of today's show. What a game it was for Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who get a rumble, stumble, fumble right into the end zone to get that win. Chris Jones looked lost and sort of gave up on the play if you look at the replay. But ultimately, this was a massive win for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I think this is their best start in several years. So the fact that they're 4-1 right now, it's utterly ridiculous. Mahomes, he had a very good game, over 370 total yards in this one, 2 total touchdowns. He did have a pick. Trevor Lawrence fumbled again, number 1 in the NFL since he came into the league. But ultimately, though, he made up for it with that rushing touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars to come out on top, 31-28 on Monday Night Football. So my question to you is, ultimately, what was your reaction to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars win over the Kansas City Chiefs?
My headline is Chiefs beat themselves and lost to Jaguars. My summary comment is Mahomes threw a 99-yard pick, 6, and looked like a clown. Lawrence ran for the game-winning TD despite tripping and falling to the ground. It was quite an interesting game. The Chiefs jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Jacksonville then came back to score 21 points. And the Chiefs in the fourth quarter scored 14, Jacksonville 10 to win 31-28. The Chiefs are ahead 28-24 with 1:45 to play. There were two big mistakes in this game. I just mentioned one of them in my opening comment, the Mahomes 99-yard pass interception, and for his pick six. And then on the Jags' final drive started on the Jags 40 because Butker kicked the ball out of bounds and gave him the ball on the 40-yard line. Lawrence then hit Thomas for 33 yards with defenders in his face. It was a great throw. I have to give Lawrence that. He was on his heels and had the defenders right in his face. Threw that ball right out there and right to Thomas, who had double coverage on him. So that was quite a play. That was a big play. Then he threw to Brown for another gain, and then the pass interference on Connor put the ball on the 1-yard line. And from there, it looked like there was 23 seconds left. Lawrence stumbled in for the go-ahead touchdown with 23 seconds left. I think Lawrence was helped in that play by the Chiefs defenders, who, when he fell down, they just stopped playing. They weren't even in it. Chris Jones stopped playing. Lawrence got up, ran around the edge and into the end zone. And as I mentioned, the other big play for the Jags, Devin Lloyd's 99-yard interception for a TD. Interestingly, he was the AFC Defensive Player for the month of September. And he just, in October, he started his first game with the longest interception return by a linebacker in NFL history. Not bad. Way to go. Travis Hunter, he looked pretty good, 44 yards on a circus catch on a scoring drive, and a nice 12-yard catch for first down. The Jags, maybe they're for real. I really hadn't watched a full game with them playing. I've been following the stats, and Lawrence not looking so great. Maybe he played great because it was his birthday. And they gave him a cake at the end of the game, which he had a piece of. I was surprised he didn't take the cake back in the locker room for the rest of the players. As you said, Mahomes had a good game, 29-41, 318 yards, 1 TD. But that one interception was huge because it was a pick six. And they were right down there, 99. They were on the 1-yard line. And he threw the ball. Why didn't they run it? I would have thought they would have run it there. Mahomes is the leading rusher, and this is an issue for the Chiefs again. The running game not clicking. He had 6 carries for 60 yards. Hunt was in there, but he put him in generally on the short yardage stuff, but he did have 7 carries for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns. Thornton was the leading pass receiver with 3 catches for 90 yards. Kelsey, 7 for 61. Brown had 4 for 48, and Worthy 6 for 42. So Mahomes had a good night passing the ball, except for that one play. Lawrence, on the other hand, 18-25, 221 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, which is not outstanding, but the running, where he had 10 rushes for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Chiefs expected him to do that. I don't think they were prepared for that. ATN had 12 rushes for 49 yards. On the receiving side, nobody had big numbers and catches. Thomas 4 for 80, Hunter 3 for 64, Strange 1 for 22. I was surprised by the result. I picked the Chiefs to win this game. The Jaguars are the leading takeaway team in the NFL with 14 going into this game. That interception, 99 yards for a touchdown, very big.
Well, I think it was very impressive, and they really have changed things for that organization because the entire season, they had 9 takeaways. This season, through 5 weeks, they have 14.
And last year, they had 4 wins. Now they have 4.
Yeah, I think this is incredibly impressive, and the question is, should we take the Jaguars legitimately as serious threats? My answer is no, but we're very close. We are very, very close to being like, no, the Jaguars are for real. Because the teams that they beat were the Carolina Panthers, the Houston Texans, who had the worst offense in the NFL, the 49ers they beat with Brock Purdy throwing a few interceptions and losing a fumble. They did lose to the Bengals, though, with Jake Browning throwing 3 picks. That's just a bad game. And this was their first really, really good win. But again, Mahomes had a pick six that went 99 yards. By the way, Devin Lloyd leads the NFL in interceptions, which is very, very impressive. But this was a bad throw by Mahomes. So I'm close to saying that the Jaguars, we should start thinking about them as being legitimate playoff contenders, legitimate threats in the AFC. But I'm not there yet, just ultimately because of the fact that I do not think picking everybody off. I mean, this is the first game they had less than three turnovers, or takeaways rather. So is that sustainable? I don't know. The defense, by the way, didn't come up big until that interception. Otherwise, this was an offensive battle.
Yeah, well, the interception was huge because a 14-point turnaround.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, they were on the 1 yard line. They should have just punched in with a running play. I don't know why he was throwing the ball on that play.
The Chiefs can't run. That's the issue.
Well, maybe they could just do a rollout or something.
In this game, they could run pretty nicely. And Mahomes, they don't really use him for QB sneaks. They don't use him for QB rollouts because early in his career, he actually would hurt his ankle, I believe, on a QB sneak. So they stopped doing that immediately. Once you give him $450 million or $500 million.
Go to a wildcat offense for a play or two. I mean, there's an ego thing there with Mahomes. He probably wouldn't want to come out of the game for a play. But that was a coaching issue there, too, I think, by passing the ball there on the 1 yard line. What down? I can't remember what down it was. I don't know. But no matter what down it was, I don't think that was the right play. And obviously, 14-point turnaround, they lost by 3.
Right.
So that says it all.
Second and goal on the 3.
Second and goal.
On the 3 yard line, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very unfortunate, but ultimately, I do not think having 14 takeaways in 5 games is very sustainable. That's nearly 3 per game. That's not going to happen. I think ultimately the Jaguars defense will not come to an absolute halt and they'll start just never have another takeaway because the Jets can't even take the ball away. I don't think that's sustainable either. But I also don't think you're going to average basically 5 takeaways a game. That's just not going to happen, or 3 takeaways a game.
1 or 2, that's pretty good.
Right, but I'm saying that,
right?
Yeah,
the fact that they're averaging 3 is outstanding. I mean, that's unheard of. But with the defense they have, maybe they can do 1 or 2 the rest of the way, and that would be fantastic too.
Well, they had 1, and they nearly lost. And in fact, if Chris Jones didn't decide to stop playing football, there was a shot he could at least get to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And knowing Trevor Lawrence, he might fumble. He already stumbled and bumbled his way to the end zone anyway.
He was laying on the ground there. The fact
Twice.
They couldn't get through the line and just touch him while he was down. They couldn't do that either.
I mean, the thing is that the Jaguars don't have a great offensive line. The fact that they held up enough for Trevor Lawrence, like you said, to not even get touched was very impressive.
Yeah.
And he fell down twice, able to get up. Chris Jones stand there like
playing. When they saw him fall down, they stopped playing. Nobody touched him.
Right, and then Trevor Lawrence made a tremendous play, and this was the best game I've ever seen Trevor Lawrence play when it comes to just
he earned his money.
The impact plays.
He earned his money last night. I have to say that it was his birthday. We'll see if he continues to play like that.
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. Like the stats show that Trevor Lawrence played fine. He didn't play great. He had a sub-100 passer rating. He had a 54 QBR, which is above average. Scale 0 to 100. Mahomes had a 78, which. Again, I think that's just more so the numbers. But it was the impact plays, the massive throw, the big time throw to get them close to Brian Thomas. He did have a bad interception.
I want to ask you on the very last play of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
You talk about the Mahomes chuck.
The Mahomes is back there, right? He could have just stood there for maybe a minute and a half. They weren't even rushing at all.
Yeah.
They had 2 guys up there. Everybody else was way back.
Yeah.
I don't know why. We know Mahomes, he couldn't get it to the end zone. He threw the ball. Maybe it was, landed at the 20-yard line?
Yeah.
15 or 20-yard line? It was nowhere near close. It was not going to be even close to a touchdown. Everybody was around the receivers. He should have run.
Right.
Why not run?
I don't know.
But I'm saying, why not run and have some of the offensive players come back and start the lateral game?
Because
the
chance of that happening.
Maybe just run around out there, run down, and then maybe even run all the way back to the line of scrimmage and then throw it. Who knows where everybody would be? It would be chaos out there. That would have been better than just trying to heave it and knowing it wasn't even going to get close to the end zone. It would have been at least more entertaining. I mean, when he threw it, we know the game's over. The ball isn't going to come even close to the end zone.
Well, that's what I was actually a little bit surprised about. Everyone's like, Mahomes is the best arm in the NFL. Look at, he's throwing massive bombs. There was one where he's like, he hit the crossbar. He threw it 60 yards? That's it?
Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't getting close to the end zone.
Baker Mayfield has a bigger arm than that. Josh Allen has a bigger arm than that. Brady had a bigger arm than that.
He should have run. It wouldn't have been any worse. We knew it wasn't going to. We knew they were going to fail on the pass.
Well, yeah. I think at that point you're just hoping on luck somehow getting it tipped and then it being open and then you running.
But then even if it was tipped, there were players behind that at the goal line. They would have tackled them. They had the right defense out there for a pass. Well, maybe not a run.
Obviously, you're going to drop 9 into coverage.
They dropped everybody into coverage. They had 2 guys and they weren't even rushing.
Oh yeah.
He was standing back there all by himself, just standing there. He could have stood there another 30 seconds.
Maybe.
Right? And who knows? It's what he should have done. He should have just stood there until they did something to try to come to him and then run. And then have some of the offensive players come back and they could have started the lateral game. I think just out there running around would have been better than what they did. I don't know what they would think.
You know what I'm thinking? And this has happened to the Chiefs several times. Like what you said, is have someone come, but carry his defender, throw it, draw a defensive pass interference. Because they've done that several times over the course of Mahomes' career, where they have a nice deep ball, this is no way going to be a completion, and then you draw a defensive pass interference. They did that against the Cincinnati Bengals.
No, it was one of the most uncreative plays I've ever seen.
It's a Hail Mary. There's a reason why it's called a Hail Mary.
Yeah, but it was a Hail Mary. They weren't close enough to throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah, they're on the 23-yard line. By the way, they had a delay of game the play before that. A delay of game. They would have been on the 28. That doesn't really help. But
no, they were at the end there. They were all discombobulated. It was. I don't think they thought that's the way the game was going to go. I don't think they thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to run 10 times.
Trevor Lawrence played great.
10 times in the game for 54 yards. And I didn't think that they thought, that it was going to come down to a tie at the with them having the lead, right? And and the kicking it to them with 1 minute and 40 seconds or so, and have the kicker kick it out of bounds.
They start on the 40-yard line.
Give me a break. 40-yard line.
Yeah.
That starts on the 40-yard line. You only have, if it's a really close game, less than 3 points, it's only 20 yards to field goal range. Right. It's one play.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And you needed
NFL,
a touchdown, too.
They keep shortening the field. They want
runbacks.
Last year, almost every drive started from the 25-yard line,
well, that's
right?
Good.
Because they kick the ball into the end zone every time. Now they don't let them do that. And now they're kicking it. The kickers are so inaccurate. How do they kick field goals from 50, 60 yards, and they can't hit within a 50 yards, right? They can't. It goes out of bounds. How does that happen?
Well,
I know, or they can't hit it in the landing zone, which is
20 yards.
Big? It's 20
yards.
20 yards.
If you include the end zone, it's 30 yards.
It's 20 by 30. It's 20 by 50. It's 50 yards wide and 20 yards deep.
Is it really
and you have the end zone with 10 yards. The field is 50 yards wide, right? And there's 20 yards for the landing zone. That's a pretty big area.
That is a big area.
You think if you can kick a field goal through the uprights, which I'm not sure how wide they are, not very wide, you can't hit it in that area? I couldn't believe that. And that kicker is a good kicker.
18 feet 6 inches.
He's a very good kicker. The goalposts are 18
feet 6 inches.
Is wide, and he couldn't hit a 50-yard wide.
Well,
he couldn't hit it. He knocked it out of bounds. And the receiver down there, the kick returner, he was smart. He watched it land, and he saw it's going to go out of bounds. He didn't try to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think, because the fact that every single kicker kicked it out of bounds because you get on like the 25 to the 30-yard line, they'll take that opportunity. But now the fact that they start on the 35, if you kick it out of the back of the end zone, they're like, well, that 5 yards is too much. And the NFL is trying to get more run backs because they tried it last year with that 25 or the 30-yard starting point. If you kick it out of bounds, nobody cared. Yeah, they just kicked it out of the back of the end zone.
At least it's an interesting play now.
Right.
And you have to have a little bit of skill.
Right.
Yeah, as a kicker. You don't just nail it and hit it out of the end zone anymore. You got to land it in an area, and that area is huge.
Right.
That area is it's a huge area. It's 20 by 50 yards. And you got to be able, you seem so, just kick it down the middle.
Right. Right.
And one thing that surprised me, too, when they kick it, it looks like they're hardly kicking it, and the ball goes way up in the air and goes down there. These guys got to have some really strong legs because it doesn't look like they're kicking it very hard.
Right.
And it goes pretty far. It goes to generally it goes to the goal line.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what's interesting, we just saw that Thursday night, what was it, Thursday Night Football? The Seahawks-Cardinals game.
Yeah.
Chad Ryland tried to finesse it right before the 20-yard line.
Same thing.
Right, exactly the same thing.
It's happened a number of times.
Right.
In these games. So it's an important play now.
Absolutely.
It's something. It's meaningful now.
Right.
Whereas last year it meant nothing.
Well, we saw a couple great run backs in this game too, getting to the 50-yard line, the 45-yard line. And I think it is kickers just go through 4 quarters and then the last 13 minutes of just power hitting it. Just get it in the landing zone. Then on that last drive, they finesse it. They try to get it. They try to squib it.
They're thinking about it. They're thinking about it too much. They shouldn't.
Just kick it.
They either kick it too short and it doesn't make it to the landing zone, or they kick it one right or the left and they risk and it bounces and goes out of bounds.
Right. Right.
So
you're not a punter. It's not going to be at the 5 if it goes out of the 5.
I think the coaches would do well to go back and look at some of these awful kicks and think, you know what? Let's not try to finesse it. Let's just try to kick it down there. In fact, if you're worried about it, kick it out of the end zone. We'll start at least on the 35 instead of the 40.
Right. You have that 5-yard buffer. We've seen the multiple games so far.
Yeah.
And we
multiple times.
Saw it as a direct loss.
And every time that it's been a muff, that they've blown it, they wound up losing the game.
Right.
They wound up losing the game. So it's been a big play. It's very meaningful. A kicker's got to they got to go out there and practice trying to land it in that area, which is, huge.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, we do this every single week. We do our weekly recap, and shockingly, we start immediately off with this game. So let's give do you want to do this game? A quick rundown of this game using your weekly report?
Which one?
You start off with the Chiefs and the Jaguars.
Oh, we just did it.
So we're going to skip that one over.
I gave my summary on that one.
Okay, we'll skip it.
Skip it. We did it.
Well, fair enough. All right, weekly report. We basically analyze every single game throughout every single Sunday game throughout each NFL week. This is a Week 5 weekly report, so take it away with the first game of your report.
Okay, the Vikings and Cleveland. And the Vikings wound up winning that game 21-17, being acclimated, staying over in Europe for 2 weeks. They lost the first game over there. They wound up winning this one. Vikings late touchdown beats Cleveland in London. And my a key takeaway here, if the Vikings had lost 2 fumbles, could be blamed, but Wentz to Jefferson was the difference and saved the game.
Well,
to me, that was it. Wentz to Jefferson was the difference in this game. It saved it.
Yeah, big time. I think it was interesting.
They had 2 turnovers. They had 2 fumbles lost.
Right. No, but the analysts even pointed out, every time Justin Jefferson was in single coverage, Wentz went to him. Newsflash. Don't put him in single coverage. He'll cook you every time. And then Kevin Stefanski, late in the game, timeout. When the Vikings are right there, they're going to score regardless. Hold on to 1 or 2 of your timeouts, so when you get the ball back, you have an opportunity to at least go down the field, and if you need to, score a touchdown. You'll at least need a field goal. Instead, you have 0 timeouts, 10, 20 seconds left to make a play, and they had an opportunity, actually, because I think if it was Isaiah Bond or not, they nearly was able to get it on that crossing route. He didn't go. He tried to jump out of bounds, but he didn't jump out of bounds. He didn't jump out of bounds, and the clock ran out. But I mean, I thought Dylan Gabriel did an okay job. He played to not lose.
I mean,
he did not
his first game as an NFL starter. So
right.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of overthrows, a lot of miscommunications.
He was conservative,
extremely conservative.
Yeah, I would say, it was kind of an ugly game when you look at the whole thing, right? I mean, both teams scored TDs in their first possessions in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it was all punts, except late 53-yard drive by Cleveland that led to a field goal. In the third quarter, both teams scored on their opening possessions. The Vikings a 71-yard drive, the Browns 69-yard drive. In the fourth quarter, more punts, and the Vikings missed a field goal, and then that late 10-play drive by the Vikings to make it 21-17. There was only 25 seconds left. They won.
I think it was a bad game calling by Kevin Stefanski. Dylan Gabriel tried to play to not lose, not to win. I think ultimately a lot left on the field.
I give Gabriel credit at 19 of 33, 190 yards and 2 TDs. He didn't turn it over. Yeah,
no, that's the big thing. He did a fine job for his first start. I just think there's a lot more that he needs to do to actually be a starting quarterback. But here's the thing with the Joe Flacco move now. Shedeur Sanders is one step away from being the starter.
The backup quarterback, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Wentz, 25 of 34, 236 and a touchdown. Jefferson, 7 receptions, 123 yards. Addison had 5 for 41, and Hawkinson 6 for 38. They're playing like they did last year now. They're spreading the ball around to these guys, with Jefferson being the hero. My takeaway here is if Wentz keeps playing this well, I think McCarthy won't get back in there anytime soon.
Wow. That's a bit of a hot take, I think. It's their guy.
Right. Yeah,
McCarthy bust watch? I think that's
I would say it's a bust.
I would say that's definitely on the board right now.
They'll let him watch more. He obviously not ready.
Yeah.
Not ready.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next analysis. What do you have for the next game?
The next game's Houston and the Ravens, and I picked the Ravens in this game. What a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Houston 44, Ravens 10. Houston, they just blew them out quickly. I mean, they were way ahead. And my key takeaway here: Lamarless Ravens, or the heading, the summary: Lamarless Ravens blown out by Texans. The Ravens' defense is seriously depleted and looking very weak. And now with Rush in for the injured Jackson, the season is looking bleak. Very bleak.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't know. When will Lamar come back? Do they have any idea?
It's supposed to be a 2 to 3 week injury, so my guess is he won't play this next game.
The games he hasn't played in his career, they've lost 10 out of 12.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
So you got to get him back at a minimum. But, in 3 previous meetings, Stroud did not lead the Texans to a TD against the Ravens.
Yeah.
But on Sunday, he led 7 scoring drives. So the Ravens' defense is a pitiful mess.
Yeah. And they traded away their best pass rusher away to the Chargers today. So they're getting worse as we go on.
Why did they do that?
They got a safety in return.
No. Their 34-point loss is the biggest at home in Ravens history. Huh?
That's bad. Well,
the Texans outgained the Ravens 417 yards to 207.
Rush had 3
picks.
Had
3 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a joke.
Well, think about it. Now think about it. The Houston Texans, who are a fine defense, or a pretty good defense, and a bad offense through basically the entire season. Now you go up against the Los Angeles Rams, who just lost in devastating fashion to Mac Jones. You think the Rams aren't going to be hungry to dominate?
They're going to kill them.
I think they're 7 or 7.5 point spread favorites on the road.
I think they're going to kill them. And I think Cooper Rush, man, what happened to him?
He was good on Dallas.
14 of 20, 179 yards, 3 picks. And Henry. I mean, they knew we were just going to hand him the ball, right? 15 carries, which we said 33 yards and a touchdown.
This goes against it. Now he's, 12 and 7 when he carries it 15 or more times.
Still.
Maybe you need to do a little more research to do Derrick Henry with Lamar
at quarterback.
With Lamar at quarterback, yeah. Zay Flowers had a fine game, 5 catches, 72 yards, but ultimately the Ravens are pitiful.
They try to get Hopkins a little more involved in the game, too.
They're only using him on goal balls. That's it. That's all they're doing. Up and aways. He's a much better receiver than that. Use him for what he's good at. I know he's old, but ultimately, he's a top premier wide receiver. Yeah. He's a former All-Pro, a former Pro Bowl. Use him for his ability. Otherwise, why the hell is he on your team?
Why not now?
Exactly. Right? Now, by the way, it probably is Lamar Jackson comes back after the bye, which is a home game against the Chicago Bears, because they have a bye in Week 7. This is a get healthy next couple weeks. They're going to get absolutely obliterated. Now, here's the interesting part. The AFC North is so bad, the Ravens have a shot at staying alive in the division. Now, in the playoffs, that's a different story because the Patriots have been doing well. Jacksonville is tied with the Colts at 4-1. Denver and the Chiefs are going to be back.
They'll have to win the division.
They probably would. And I think Aaron Rodgers at 3-1, he's doing a fine job. The Steelers' schedule is all right, not that difficult.
I'd say the Ravens are very much at risk of not making the playoffs this year.
Big time. Big time. Let's get to your next game.
Okay. Giants rookie mistakes, costly and lost to the Saints. Giants 14, Saints 26. Dart played like a rookie with 3 turnovers, which caused their volatile coach, Dable's temper to boil over.
This is the end of the Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen era.
I think it should be now.
I think it will be. I think Jackson Dart, he's a fine quarterback. He's a rookie, and we're seeing that. I think that what I love his just like he doesn't care. He'll drive into contact. He'll generate contact. He'll throw it. And that's what I love, because Dylan Gabriel played way too conservative. There were throws out there to be had, and he just overthrew it. It was a miscommunication.
Wow.
Jackson Dart will sling the ball, and that's what I like. However, it's very reckless. And Brian Daboll did a good job with Josh Allen taking the reckless out of his red zone turnovers, and we saw that the season after, where he led the league in red zone interceptions. I think Brian Daboll, this is going to be his third week. They play the Eagles, which is not great.
Oh.
But in 2 games, we've seen Jackson Dart banged up. He was limited in the first practice. He was a full go in this one. 2 games, he hasn't been 100%. I got to give props to Spencer Rattler, though. He played very well in this game. I think the defense also played well. He got his first win. Yeah. He's 1-10 in his career. But yeah, no, the Giants, Darius Slayton had a fumble, Scadaboo had a fumble, Dart had a fumble. I mean,
Dart had 3 turnovers. I mean, you can't play like that. That's a rookie performance.
Yeah,
and he did well against the Chargers, and this is a winnable game. I mean, they were driving. For
that opening drive, I got scared.
I know. Actually, the first couple.
I mean,
they
did
14-3.
14-3
at one point, and then they were driving late in the game, and they would have taken the lead, right?
Yeah.
But the Scadaboo fumble turned into a touchdown.
And then
picked it up and ran all the way.
I mean,
87 yards.
I mean, ultimately
86 yards. I'm sorry. And then the Rattler had the 87-yard pass to Shaheed.
That was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch, beautiful play. The Giants.
Yeah,
after
the Giants were driving for the go-ahead score. It was 7:08 left, and that's when Scadaboo fumbled.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately, it doesn't get better.
And the Saints scored off those turnovers. I mean, if they hadn't turned the ball over, the Giants still would have been in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about it, this was the easiest game to win, and they lost.
They have the hardest schedule, so
think about it.
It doesn't look good.
The next, until their bye week, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, Niners, Bears, Packers, Lions, Patriots. I don't see a win there.
I don't either. They moved the ball well. They beat themselves with the turnovers, which the Saints capitalized on.
Big time.
I mean, you look at Dart, 26 of 40, 202 yards, 2 TDs, but 2 interceptions. Rattler had a decent game, 21 of 31, 225, and a touchdown. And that touchdown pass is beautiful.
Yeah,
really, he put it right on his hands. Okay, moving right along here. This one surprised me. I lost out on this one. Denver scores 18 in the fourth to stun the Eagles with a comeback win. And my key takeaway here, the comeback win by the Broncos, down by 14, looked way too steep until the fourth quarter when the Eagles' offense and defense went to sleep.
They changed it up in this game.
They changed it up in the bad way.
Right.
I mean, they were controlling the game. They were up by 14 points.
Right. Well, here's the thing that's interesting. There was a report before this game saying that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts were having a meeting about what the hell's going on with the offense. So what does Jalen Hurts do? He throws it 38 times, and they ran it a total of 11 times, and they lose.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't do that.
I mean, I think what happens, Bo Nix has been playing very poor. Hit 3 points through 3 quarters, and then the very end of the game, the Eagles' offense didn't do anything.
No, Bo Nix, 3 scoring drives on 3 possessions in the fourth quarter. He was 9 of 10, 126 yards, and a touchdown pass.
I mean,
what were they doing? What happened?
The Eagles have the 30th ranked offense. They're 31st in passing, but that's expected with Jalen Hurts. They're 25th in rushing. Saquon Barkley's not having a good year. He's having one of the worst years. And by the way, the offensive line's banged up. Landon Dickerson's going to miss a week or two. Lane Johnson is banged up. The defense hasn't been playing lockdown at all. They're 20th in the league. I mean, this team is not, like, really. The record, this reminds me of, was it the 2022 team with Brian Johnson as the OC, where they were like 11-1 or something like that, and then in the playoff game, they make it to the wild card, and they get blown out by Baker Mayfield. It was the 2023, I believe. Yeah. And they get blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, I'm not going to panic just yet. It was only their second loss in the last 22 games.
I would. A.J. Brown seems pissed.
2 losses in 22 games.
A.J. Brown's talking again. Devontae.
Well, he shouldn't be talking in this game. He was targeted in this game.
Right, but he was targeted. He was 9 targets, 2 catches in the game before then. But there was one that everyone's talking about on a deep throw where it seems like A.J. Brown let up a little bit, and then Jalen Hurts threw it to him, and he threw it over his head. And then A.J. Brown in the post-game conference says that it was Jalen Hurts' fault, essentially, that was an incomplete pass. And supposedly they're all buddy-buddy, and all of a sudden it's strictly professional.
Well,
there's no friends anymore.
The 2 wideouts, Smith and Brown, had 13 catches, 157 yards. So they don't have a lot to complain about in this game, except that they lost.
Well, I think A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, they might say it publicly, but apparently there's a report out there saying they went from being buddy-buddy to now it's strictly professional. There's no real friendship there anymore. They seem to have some sort of falling out there. So it's unfortunate.
The Eagles, you could argue they beat themselves.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, because late in the game they got that first down on a long pass to Smith. It was 4th and 4 when they threw that, and they get negated by illegal shift by Barkley. So
yeah,
they cooked themselves on that. And Peyton gambled with that 2-point conversion to give them that 1-point cushion there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was 7:36 left. Peyton said this is a team that just won the Super Bowl, so that's a good win for us. Peyton, he passed Bill Parcells 173rd with his 173rd win. So all around, it was a great day for Peyton. He looked very happy.
This was a statement when the Broncos came up, showed out. Their defense played great after being a little bit shaky early in the year, and Bo Nix had a pretty good game. No turnovers. That was the big one. He stopped turning the ball over. He looked poised in the fourth quarter. They couldn't move the ball for basically the entire game. Then the fourth quarter, they stepped up big and capitalized.
Let's not forget it was the Broncos' defense against the Eagles, too. The Broncos have a very good defense.
The defense is really, really good.
Okay, moving along here. Dallas 37, Jets 22. Dak Prescott looking like MVP candidate in beatdown of Jets. My key takeaway, despite 4 new offensive linemen and no CD Lamb, Prescott threw 4 TDs, which may be because the Jets defense just doesn't give a damn.
This was a horrible loss for the Jets, who, by the way, still have yet to take the ball away. First team in NFL history to be 0-5 with 0 takeaways. I mean, this is really bad. Really, really
Terrible.
bad. And again, we take a look at head coaches and we say, can you get your side of the ball right? Because Robert Saleh, the defense was fine. Why fire him? Like Brandon Staley, for instance. The Chargers' defense was abysmal. They were setting NFL records. Justin Herbert, they gave up the most points and the most yards in the first 3 years of a quarterback's career. They were that bad. So you had to get rid of them. Well, it seems like, Aaron Glenn, 0-5 to start the year. It looks really, really ugly. They're no takeaways.
How can their defense go up against an offensive line? 4 out of the 5 starters were out.
Yeah.
And their makeshift offensive line. Dak Prescott throws 4 touchdown passes, leads 2 90-yard scoring drives with that makeshift offensive line on the road.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen? Aaron, tell us. How did that happen? Does your defense give a damn? Does anybody give a damn? I don't think so.
Again, the Jets had another fumble in this game. They continuously fumble. I think they have 7 lost fumbles on the year. They can't stop turning the ball over, and they can't even take the ball away.
Well, they can't stop the run. Javonte Williams ran for 135 yards on a TD.
Yeah.
He also caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah. And Ryan, Flournoy? I can't pronounce the dude's name. 114 yards on 6 catches.
Yeah.
He's not even the wide receiver 3.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn is the first Jets coach to start their tenure with an 0-5 record. And he said, we're going to have to figure out as a team how to get out of this hole. That's pretty deep.
They're not in a hole. They're in a chasm. They're in an abyss. What do you mean hole? You're 0-5 and haven't taken the ball away.
Still no takeaways by the defense. First time in NFL history since 1933 when they started taking stats.
I call it, at least in the merger, yeah. Super Bowl. Here's the thing. The stats are fine. Like, the statistics offensively are acceptable at least. But their defense is terrible. Like, think about it. They have the 3rd best running game in the NFL. And Justin Fields hasn't turned the ball over really at all.
Justin Fields had a pretty good, I feel sorry for him, actually. He's 32 of 46, 283, 2 TDs. He was sacked 5 times.
Yeah.
He got sacked 5 times.
I think it's impact
14 carries for 113 yards, but he had a key turnover. They were in the game, and he fumbled it in the second quarter, and that led to Dallas starting to pull away.
Well, think about this. I'm still putting this out here. We've seen one quarterback look better in the system than the one or two starters on the team. Tyrod Taylor. He looked better than Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito in the Giants system a couple years back. And against the Buccaneers, he was, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and nearly beat them. So, all I'm saying is Tyrod Taylor can play.
I don't think this is on Justin Fields, though, Nate.
I'm not saying it is.
So, I mean, putting Tyrod Taylor in there for him and against in this game against the Cowboys, I don't think it would have made a difference because Fields had a decent game.
Yeah.
He got sacked 5 times.
Yeah, and only sacked Dak Prescott once behind that offensive line. I mean, it's bad. The Jets, here's the thing. The Jets are still the Jets.
That's right.
Nothing changes.
Same old Jets.
Nothing changes.
Okay, on to the Raiders. A total of 6 points against the Colts, who scored 40. The Colts continue to make a case for as a playoff contender and blowout win against the Raiders. And my key takeaway, Taylor runs for 3 touchdowns and Jones passes for 2 as the Raiders increasingly look like a lackluster crew.
Colts, they're 4-1. They look exactly like I said they've been. A legitimate playoff contender. Meanwhile, Geno Smith looks terrible still. He threw 2 picks. One was tipped. The other one, I don't care how, you got picked off. You didn't score a single touchdown. You were 25-36. You had a 19.1 QBR scale of 0 to 100. Think about it. Jake Browning played very, very poorly. Jackson Dart didn't play well. Dylan Gabriel didn't play very well. You had the worst passer rating in QBR in the entirety of Week 5 against a Colts defense that's not that great this year.
There's something wrong with the offensive scheme if Geno's playing this bad.
That's Chip Kelly.
Because they have good wide receivers, right? They have decent wide receivers.
Trey Tucker's fine. Jacoby Myers is fine.
Maybe they're just not getting it out quick enough. He's just under too much pressure, and he's not good under pressure.
No.
Not a good quarterback under pressure.
I just think ultimately, apparently, reporting, tensions are rising. Pete Carroll, this offense, tensions are rising.
Yeah, well, I can understand why when you're losing.
No, it's not only that they're losing. This was a blowout.
Yeah, I know. Well, you look at the Colts, though, man. They've got a very good team. Taylor, he's one of the league's top running backs.
He's the number 1 running back, I believe.
A few more games like this, and Jones will be considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league, too. Indy's lopsided it's the most lopsided victory they've had in 12 years. Jones has won more games, the 4 so far, than he did in his final 16 starts with the Giants. Colts converted 2 interceptions, a block punt, and a turnover on downs into TDs. The starters sat in the fourth quarter, didn't even play. Carroll's profound statement, we need to change course from the way we're going.
More so like the ownership needs to maybe move on from you, Pete Carroll.
No sacks by the Raiders. Smith, 25 of 36, 228, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Jones, 20 of 29, 2 TDs, and I think he had 2 picks as well. No, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
Sorry, yeah, he didn't have
QBR is 79.5. I mean, here's the big thing. A.D. Mitchell barely played. Even in a blowout, he was in the doghouse.
They're sending that guy a message.
Absolutely. Ashton Doolin came in here, was balling. I mean, he had some crazy catches in this game.
Yeah.
And that's his replacement.
For 55 yards. Downs, I don't know who he is. He had 6 for 55.
Josh Downs. You got to know Josh Downs.
Yeah. And
Tyler Warren.
17 for 66, 3 touchdowns.
Hey, Tyler Warren.
I like the who are the Colts playing next week?
Cardinals.
The Cards, I'll beat them.
Home against the Cardinals.
That you ought to have a Harvey hot hand on that one.
I do. I do. I wish I got in it at the 4.5. It's now 6.5, but I'll still take it.
Okay, moving on. Dolphins 24, Panthers 27. I couldn't believe this.
Geez.
Yeah. Young and Dowdle lead 17-point rally to beat the Dolphins. And my key takeaway, maybe Bryce Young should not be written off yet.
Oh, my God.
But his good game was against the hapless Dolphins defense, so it's not a sure bet.
No, this was a defining game for one person because Tua played fine. This was without Tyreek Hill. The running game was god-awful.
Yeah.
10 carries, 16 yards for HN. It was abysmal. 1.6 yards a carry. This falls on Mike McDaniel 1,000%. I've ripped on Tua. I've ripped on Greer. I've ripped on the lack of running game. This falls primarily on Mike McDaniel. You're up 17-0 against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. Bryce Young, who's been a bust his entire career, except for a small amount of games, and you lose. Think about it. You have given up. You have the highest pass EPA allowed and the highest rush EPA allowed. Mm-hmm. The defense is non-existent. The passing game's fine in this game. Tua had some great throws.
Well, how could you run for only 16 yards, and how could you give up 206 yards to Dowdle? He's never had a game. He's never had a game like that. He had runs of 53 and 43.
Yeah. No, this falls on Mike McDaniel, and supposedly, reportedly, ownership is getting very close to being completely fed up with Mike McDaniel. The pressure is on.
Why.
That's what I've been saying since week 1. Mike McDaniel looks lost. You should see him out in the postgame walk into the locker room. He looks like he just saw a ghost. It's that. Basically he did see a ghost.
Yeah.
Because what the hell did the Panthers do to this team?
Yeah. In the fourth quarter, the Panthers took the lead midway through the quarter.
Yeah.
1 yard run by Dowdle, but the Dolphins came right back, scored on a 46-yard pass to Waddle, take the lead 24-20. With 4:50 left, but they couldn't hold off Carolina, who scored on Young's pass to Evans, and Miami punted. Then they got the ball. They couldn't do anything with it, and they punted with 1:10 to go.
No, that's
come on. They're down by 4,
right?
And they punted with 1:10 to go. What the hell were they doing that for?
Well, think about it. They ran it 3 straight. You couldn't run the ball. Just go for it. Just go. I think it's this is the play-by-play. Ready for this? So after their second quarter, after a second quarter touchdown, punt, 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 touchdown, punt. That's the game. The half of the second quarter, the second half of the second quarter, punt, 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 touchdown,
punt.
That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
The offense wasn't great. This falls strictly on Mike McDaniel. I put him completely. If you're up 17-0,
did okay. 27 of 36, 256, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, he played fine.
And Young, it's a great game for him because he usually plays terrible. 19 of 30, 198, 2 touchdowns and an interception.
It's really bad.
Dowdle was the difference.
100%.
Right? 206 yards. How do you give up that kind of yardage when you can only run for 16? Yeah. 16 yards.
No, it's bad.
That is pitiful.
But here's the thing. That's the Miami Dolphins this season. There's something always wrong.
I think McDaniel's going to be gone.
I agree with that.
Okay, moving on. Bucks 38, Seahawks 35. I watched this game. What a game, man. Bucks win shootout on the road, helped by Darnold pick. It looked like the team would win that last it looked like the team that would win would be the team that had the ball last. But the late pick by Darnold changed all of that. So Darnold picked off with 58 seconds left. Leads to Bucks' game-winning field goal with 39 yards. Mayfield tied it with 1:08 left with 11-yard TD to Shepard. Man, what a year he's having. The teams combined for 889 yards of offense. The quarterbacks passed for 720 yards and just 10 incompletions. Mayfield completed 88% of his passes. Entering the game, Seattle defense allowed third fewest points, but they were missing Lawrence, Love, and Witherspoon, and they gave up 38 points to the Bucs, so that was a surprise.
I think that this is a year of the redemption. Baker Mayfield's continue his redemption tour. Sam Darnold stepping up big with the Seahawks. Daniel Jones seems to be in full form. Mac Jones is also seemingly doing very well with the 49ers. This seems like a true redemption year. Think about it. These players were in the same draft class, if I'm not mistaken. They were taken very close to one another. I think Sam Darnold was the 3rd pick. Baker Mayfield was the 1st pick. This should have been the battle we should have seen back in 2018 when these guys were drafted. This should have been the battle we saw in their rookie years, but they were both on abysmal franchises. One went to the Cleveland Browns, who went winless. The other went to the New York Jets that can't get quarterback right ever. So I thought that this was a tremendous game through and through. We have 2 top 3 receivers in the league right now. We have JSN and we have Ibuka. But Ibuka's making some crazy catches and crazy plays so far. This is rookie year. I'm scared of what he might turn into. And think about he's wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Maybe even wide receiver 3, technically, because Chris Godwin is also there.
Yeah.
But Mike Evans is there. He was wide receiver 1 in this game.
Generally, the
big.
Bucs don't win when they don't have Evans in there, but Ibuka's making them forget about Evans.
I think that right now, think about it, because Mike Evans seems to be 1 foot out the door. Ibuka's right there. They are not going to misstep anything. They went from Brady to Mayfield, didn't really lose much. Now you're going from Evans to Ibuka while having Chris Godwin. I think that right now they're doing this. This transition that they've done has been beautiful. After being the worst franchise in the 4 major American sports.
You know, the Bucs kicker was questionable because he was so sick. He had a terrible case of the flu. He hit 3 for 3.
I think that if you ever want to just see entertaining football, this is the game. And Mayfield Magic, we both thought it wouldn't be there. Mayfield Magic returned again. I mean, what he's doing, he's the clutchest quarterback in the NFL right now.
The Bucs are the first team with 4 wins by 3 points or less in the first 5 games in NFL history.
Baker Mayfield has been the clutchest quarterback in the NFL, and since coming into the league, he's been a top 3 in fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives in the NFL. He's one of the best quarterbacks right now in the league, and right now, him and Dak Prescott should be 1 and 2 or 1A and 1B in MVP voting right now.
Yeah.
They're playing out of their minds right now.
I agree.
All right, next one.
Okay. Titans 22, Cardinals 21.
Oh, this game. Oh, jeez.
Titans 16-point rally in the fourth quarter beats Cardinals by 1 point. My key takeaway here, the Cardinals were winning it. It looked like they were cruising. Gannon's profound statement, until we play better, we're going to keep losing. That's pretty profound.
This was a perfect example of how you choke a game away. If anybody was doing a case study on people thinking the NFL's rigged, look at this game. You pick off Cam Ward, then you when you're landing, you let go of the football, you fumble it, then the guy trying to pick up the football went 3 stooges and kicked it as he was reaching down, then 2 of your other teammates fall on each other on top of the ball. It stumble, rumble, fumbles all the way to the end zone, and Tyler Lockett jumps on it. Add on top of the fact, the running back, DeMarcado, was already 3rd string, but you're so banged up with Trey Benson and James Conner both out. You have DeMarcado run, 78 yards? And he flips the ball away. We just saw A.D. Mitchell do that, and he's benched. And then he gets ripped on by Jonathan Gannon, rightfully so. Yeah. DeMarcado took it on the head, but I don't get, what's the point of flipping the ball as soon as you get in the end zone? Take 2 steps and then do it. Just do it right before you get to the end zone makes no sense to me. The Cardinals, and by the way, talk about 3 stooges, Kyler Murray got the snap into the helmet. He got snapped right into the helmet with the football. The Cardinals choked this game away.
They did.
I'll give Cam Ward his first win, but this is not a win that they should have had.
They were winning by 21-6, the Cardinals, but the 2 massive Cardinal blunders got the Titans back in the game. DeMarcado dropped the ball before the goal line on a 72-yard TD run. It wound up being a touchback, which would have given the Cardinals a 28-6 lead.
Yeah.
And then Demerson intercepted Ward, but fumbled, as you mentioned, and went back to the Titans. So the Cardinals, they can't help themselves here. They've lost 3 straight now.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was a perfect example of if you ever thought the NFL was rigged, this would be a game you look at. Kyler Murray gets a snap into the helmet, snap right into his face. Then you have a fumble off a pick that ended up being a Titans touchdown. And then you had your running back flip the ball right before he gets into the end zone, which is a fumble out of the back of the end zone, which is a touchback.
Maybe he learned that from Mitchell.
I don't understand it at all. The Cardinals choked this game away. Congratulations, and I'll give credit. Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, great last drive. Great last drive to set up the game-winning field goal.
5 catches for 131 yards in this game.
No, I mean, no, it was absolutely beautiful. However, it shouldn't have even been close enough for them to have that game-winning drive. Because Cam Ward looked pitiful. No idea why the QB coach is still calling offensive plays. He's done a terrible job, except in the very last time when the Cardinals gave the game away.
Yeah, well,
this is an abysmal job by the Cardinals.
Harrison, four catches for 98 yards.
No, he had a great start to the game. Yeah. Like, he made some crazy catches. He mossed a couple guys. I mean, he did a great job. But this was just, if you ever looked at choke jobs in the NFL, Exhibit A would be this game, because my God, 8.5-point spread. You were doing it through basically the entire game. In the fourth quarter, you crumble like a crumble cookie. Next one.
Okay. Commanders 27, Chargers 10.
Oh my, this game.
Commanders score 27 unanswered points to beat the Chargers 27-10. My key takeaway: Jaden Daniels, back from 2-game knee injury, plays well. Will the Chargers fix their offensive line problems? Only time will tell.
Yeah, Trey Pipkins, the guy that was supposed to replace Joe Wolf that I said wouldn't do, or Rashawn Slater, that wouldn't do well, was absolutely terrible in this game. He had two, I think it was back-to-back illegal formations that brought him to like second and like 34 or something like that. I mean, this was an embarrassing game. The Chargers defense allowed JCM, Jacroy Krosky-Merritt, to rush 14 times for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers defense with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach allowed that to happen. And meanwhile, Justin Herbert was the leading rusher. The offensive line, I mean, he's going to get killed. Think about it. Through the first 5 years, 6 years of Justin Herbert's career, whatever it is, the same time frame as Andrew Luck, he's projected to get hit like 40 times more than Andrew Luck. Yeah. 625 times he's projected to get hit by. They can never get offensive line right.
This is so bad for the Chargers. Trey Lance even got in there.
I mean, what are you going to do? He played all right, not great.
3 for 4, 44 yards.
It's all right.
It's garbage.
Not terrible, but this is
Herbert being the leading rusher is a key problem for them. Their offensive line, I didn't realize what a disaster it is, because I picked the Chargers to win this game.
As did I.
And it was but Jaden Daniels is back, and they play differently when he's in there.
Yeah.
And I like him. He's 15 to 26, 231, a TD, and Debo's getting into the mix now. He had 8 catches for 96 yards.
So my fantasy team, which I like, they play, by the way, the Chargers play the Dolphins next week, or this week, rather. That might be the game Mike McDaniel gets fired. Because, I mean, the pass rush the Dolphins don't really have. I think this might be a blowout in favor of the Chargers. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, Lions 37, Bengals 24. The Bengals were uncompetitive again, down 28-3 after 3. It's really wacko. Decided they've seen enough of Browning and trade for Joe Flacco.
I mentioned this in the opening topic. I don't understand how you're going from an old quarterback behind one of the worst offensive lines, and you trade a 5th-round pick to bring him over to an even worse offensive line, and he got benched for Dylan Gabriel. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And the defense in this game had opportunities because after the second touchdown of the game, Detroit went punt, a total of 28 yards. Cincinnati, punt, pick, field goal, pick. They had opportunities, and the offense couldn't do anything.
Well, Montgomery did well in this game. He ran and threw for a touchdown as the Lions roll for their 4th straight win. He played quarterback at Cincinnati High School.
The Bengals.
He was there. He was a quarterback.
Yeah, he had to jump to get that touchdown over the line.
His whole family was there at the game. He said it was super meaningful to come back home, where it all started for me, and be able to show off my arm.
He had to jump over the offensive line to get the pass out.
Yeah, he added 64 yards on 18 carries too. Gibbs also scored. It's the 14th time he and Montgomery have scored in a game together. That ties Emmitt Smith and Darryl Johnson for the NFL record. Man,
they're gonna blow that
record out of the water, right?
Yeah, big time.
The Bengals have lost 3 straight by a combined 113-37.
Yeah,
they trailed to 28-3 after 3. Goff, not a bad game, 19-33 with 3 TDs, and the running game again. Sonic and Knuckles. They're something else.
Absolutely. Think about it. The Bengals 3 points through 3 quarters, and Jamar Chase was tied for the second most tackles on the Bengals with 3.
Yeah.
And he plays offense.
Browning was the leading rusher, 4 for 31 yards.
No, Chase Brown, I mean, their offensive line is terrible. Joe Flacco is going to get killed in the backfield.
Jamar Chase had his best game, 6 receptions for 110 yards and 2 TDs.
Yeah, because most of it was on that one massive catch he had.
Yeah. And Higgins, 3 for 22 and a touchdown.
It's really bad. I feel bad for Cincinnati Bengals fans, but this is why, since 2020, you've been the least valuable franchise in the NFL. The Lions went up big time. The Jaguars actually fell down a little bit. Think about any bad team. The Jets, the Jets are in the New York market, but any team you could think of, most of them went up since 2020. And the Bengals have stayed put. That is unheard of in the NFL. The only other team to do that, really, to not really move, is the Dallas Cowboys, who have been number 1 every single year, basically. So the Bengals are really, really bad. They're cheap. I do not see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't even think Joe Burrow shouldn't even come back. They should say he had a setback and he'll miss the rest of the season because he will get killed behind this offensive line. Yeah. I think it's ultimately
they should play for a high draft pick.
That's what they should be doing.
Okay,
right now.
Final game.
Let's go.
The Pats shocked the Bills in massive upset win. My key takeaway here, the Bills beat themselves with 3 turnovers and 11 penalties. The Patriots capitalized on these miscues, giving them a winner's identity.
Hey, Drake May, I told you on Friday's show, Drake May and Josh Allen statistically are basically a wash. Their stats are essentially a wash. We saw it in this game. Drake May under pressure, making some great throws, rolling to his right, making a crazy on-the-run throw. Stephon Diggs, the one where he was getting tackled, I think, by, was it Joey Bosa, and like basically almost falling on the ground, making that throw to Stephon Diggs. If that was Patrick Mahomes, they'd be playing that on repeat for the entire week. Yeah. Drake May played out of his mind in this game. The stats don't really show it because it's only it's 273 yards, so it's respectable, and he had no touchdowns in the game.
Yeah,
but he played great. He played absolutely phenomenal.
Well, Diggs put on a big show in Buffalo, which is not unusual, except he was playing for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right. 10 for 146 yards. Pats won it on a 52-yard field goal with 15 seconds left. Stevenson fumbled again, right? Yep. But he had 2 TDs, so I guess he redeemed himself.
But he didn't do it. He ran, twice for, how much did he run for?
First back-to-back wins for the Patriots since 2022. May, very accurate, 22 of 30, 273. 13 of 14 in the second half. Not bad, huh? Bills, I said, beat themselves, 3 turnovers, 2 by Allen. He muffed a handoff, and he was intercepted by your favorite defensive back, Marcus Jones.
Hey,
in the red zone.
I think my words about him.
Keon Coleman lost a fumble. 11 penalties for 90 yards. This is the first time the Bills have been limited to 20 points in the past 2 years.
I mean,
Cook only had 49 yards.
Sure.
On 15 carries. He's had 100 yards in every game prior to that. So the Patriots defense played well too.
Oh no, they played great, and I got to eat crow. Marcus Jones had 2 passes. He led the Patriots in passes defended. He had a great one. Was it against Keon Coleman? He got up and blocked it away, and then he had a great interception, jumped the route, had a gret play. Ultimate. I mean, I gotta say, great job, Marcus Jones. Instead of being cooked by you know what? I gotta ask this question. There's a lot of questions around Travion Henderson not getting snaps. He's a third down back. He's not a bull back. He'll do it every single. Who cares? The number. By the way, Antonio Gibson's out for the year. I think he tore his ACL.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he tore his ACL. I don't care if he's not this, every single down back. He's the most efficient running back you have, and the guy who
and he doesn't fumble it.
Right. Think about it. Was it a game ago against the Steelers? He was the only running back who didn't fumble. Gibson, Drake May was the quarterback, and then Stevenson all fumbled.
And then they pulled those guys out and left Henderson in there, and he got all the carries after that, and he didn't fumble. So
in this game, he had 6 carries, 24 yards. He had the most yards per carry at 4. No touchdowns, but still, he's your best running back.
They should be carrying the ball more than that.
Well, that's because you're splitting it amongst 3 running backs.
I know. Well, now it's 2.
Now it's 2, so you should have more. But hey, Stephon Diggs,
the Bills,
it was a personal game.
Their loss had something to do with that uniform they were wearing. That was one of the ugliest.
Really?
I did not like that at all. They should go back. If they want to wear a different uniform, wear their original uniform with the red buffalo on the helmet. I love that uniform.
They have a red helmet too. I love that. Yeah. I love it. But you know what? This is a rivalry.
A white
uniform.
helmet with a silver logo on it. It was weird. Well, they were trying to look like the Raiders. Huh?
Well, it's their rivalry uniform. The Patriots have something going. They have a gray, I think it's a nor'easter, they're calling that uniform. In week 11, I think, against the Jets, is it? That's when they'll display that one.
With a different logo?
No, it's not different. It's a different color logo.
Oh,
it's the same thing as the one I have here.
You know what? I don't like the jersey the Patriots wear with those the red and white on the shoulders. I like this.
That
this
one.
Is my favorite. My favorite.
The old Patriots.
I love this shirt.
Yeah, no,
this is great.
It's a great jersey.
Logo on the sleeve.
The gray as well. You like the gray?
There. And this is what they're
missing. Tom Brady. Yeah, absolutely. You could blame Belichick for that one. He kicked him out of the entire organization. But no, I think ultimately this was a great game for Drake, man. Hey, Josh Allen turned the ball over. He threw an interception. I mean, and he also fumbled. Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over really at all. And I think also the pressure was great.
You think the Patriots can compete for the division winner? Huh?
Their schedule's easy enough that they may be able to get there record-wise.
Yeah.
But I think they will make the playoffs now, actually. I thought they'd be very close to it. I don't know if I have to look back at what we said for our standings, but I don't think I had them in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think that they will probably lose that wild card game.
I mean, if Drake May can continue to not turn the ball over and be as accurate as he's been, then I think they have a very good chance.
Yeah. Keyshawn Boutte had a couple of good catches in this game. Yeah. Hunter Henry's a very, very good tight end.
Oh, yeah.
I think ultimately, I think this is Josh McDaniels.
And Stephon Diggs got his revenge.
Yeah. No, he said this is a personal game, and we saw it. 10 catches, 146 yards.
Yeah.
Played out of his mind.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football. We still have one more topic to go.
Oh, yeah.
The Giants and the Eagles will face off on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, my God.
The Eagles coming off a brutal loss to the Denver Broncos, while the Giants came off of an ugly loss against the New Orleans Saints, giving Spencer Rattler his first win as an NFL starter. Both teams have a lot of holes. The Giants' offense has been a complete mess, and their defense has been relatively underwhelming early, while the Eagles' offense has been terrible, and the defense also has been very, very underwhelming. So I want to start with you. Which team do you think will get on the right track again and get this W on Thursday Night Football?
Well, the Eagles are minus 7.5 versus the Giants, and my insight into this game is the Eagles are smarting from their first loss. Will win big, showing the Giants who's the boss. That's my takeaway from that. The Eagles lost the first time and only second loss in 22 games. This past week, the Giants lost a winnable game against the Saints because of rookie mistakes. Dart came back to earth with 3 turnovers against the Saints, as we talked about after his impressive debut against the Chargers. The Giants' defense is disappointing. They were disappointing against the Saints. The Eagles have stars: Hurts, Barkley, Brown, Smith, Carter on defense. And I think they will get their running game going with Barkley coming back for continuing revenge games against the Giants because he can't forget how they disrespected him when they didn't give him a contract. So I think it's the Eagles' prohibitive favorite in this game.
So you're taking them to cover the points?
Oh, yeah. I think they'll embarrass the Giants in this game. Yeah.
If I trusted the running back situation for the Giants more, I would say that they would at least cover.
What happened to Tyron Tracy?
Not good, and I think he's banged up.
Oh, is he? Yeah, because he must be hurt because they put the other guy in there when he's when Singletary, and Scatterbo was done it. Scatterbo was interesting.
He's an all right running back. I still think he's more
fumbled.
of just.
He gave that was a key. That fumble was huge.
It changed the game.
Yeah,
because the Giants were moving up and down the field pretty at ease, and then he fumbled it away. I'm really tempted to pick Giants plus 7.5.
Oh.
And I'm going to. I'll take the Eagles to win. I'll take the Eagles to win by 7. I think the Giants cover the 7.5 because
I'm not decided on the point spread yet.
Okay.
Well, I said they'd win big, so I guess I would say the Eagles will cover.
Okay, so you have the Eagles. I just think ultimately the right side of the Giants' offensive line is really bad. Van Roten and Illuminor are not good really at all. That's where the pressure's primarily coming from. Jackson Dart this season so far has generated his own pressure more than 50% of the time. So he's basically screwing himself over in the pocket. But I do like his decisiveness. If he feels pressure, he'll go. He's not waiting there like Russell Wilson and crouching and figuring out where to go and then hoping for the deep. He's making a decision. He's being very decisive. I think that there were opportunities to be had in that game against the Saints for him to make the big play to at least keep them close. The Eagles will win this game because they lost embarrassingly, I think, to the Denver Broncos. It's just a question of what game do they want to play. Do they want to run the ball but piss off your wide receivers and probably get the win? Or focus on passing the ball, they get the numbers, but they have a higher chance of losing.
Why is their running game so bad this year?
I think the offensive line is not the same. It's the consistency. They're banged up on the offense.
They need to work on that.
You know what? I think that with Lane Johnson being out, the offensive line ultimately is pretty banged up. I feel a little bit more confident in the Giants at least covering. I do not think the Eagles can lose this game. Obviously they could, but I cannot see.
I don't see it.
The Giants leaving MetLife Stadium celebrating a win.
I mean, you have to wonder about Dart now. I mean, it was his first game somewhat of a fluke because he turned the ball over 3 times in the Saints game against the Saints.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So that's got to be fixed immediately if they're going to have any hope.
But here's my concern when it comes to the Giants' defense. Deontay Banks, Phillips is all right, not great, but Banks, Newbin, Phillips.
Carter has
Phillips
played
is
well.
okay. Flott has played fine, but
Carter has played well.
Oh yeah, Abdul Cartier, he's a top. He's one of the best rookies right now. Paulson, Debo, excuse me. They're fine, but I do not trust Javon Holland. I don't trust him at all. Newbin, I don't trust. Deontay Banks is not good. Phillips is all right, but he gets a lot of penalties. The safety and defensive back situation, I said it the beginning of the year. I said it last year. They're not good.
Yeah.
So if you could generate pressure, Jalen Hurts this year has not done well under pressure. If you can get to Jalen Hurts and play contain and allow Raheem Nunez-Roches to go after, and Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, if you generate some pressure, I think it'll subdue the offense a little bit. Saquon not having his best year, and he's also questionable for this game. I like the Giants covering.
Saquon is questionable for this game?
Saquon's questionable for this game. I'll take the Eagles to win.
I can't believe he would sit out a game against the Giants.
I don't think he will, but I do think the fact that he's not playing well this season so far, I'll take the Eagles to win this game, but the Giants will cover. Minimize mistakes. That's what you could throw. Think about it. In the Chargers game, Jack started like 180 total or 160 total yards. Minimize the turnovers. Maximize on the defensive side. Generate turnovers there. Giants won. Turn the ball over at ease against the Saints, you lose.
Well, I just point out the Giants did turn the ball over, 4 times?
3 or 4 times, yeah.
Against 4 times.
4 times, yeah.
Against the Saints.
That's what you have to minimize the turnovers. That's all you got to do. Because the Eagles
then
this
they
season
need to be lectured on that because they certainly didn't do that last week.
I agree with that. Here's the thing: Jalen Hurts has yet to throw an interception, and they have 1 turnover the entire year, which is a fumble loss.
That's big. I mean, you look.
They
at
don't
these
take the ball
games,
away.
You look at these games. So many teams. We keep saying they beat themselves. They beat themselves.
Yeah.
It's because they can't hang on to the ball or they get penalized. Just play penalty. Keep the penalties down and don't turn the ball over. You're going to be in every game.
This is going to be a low-scoring game. Eagles score on 34% of their drives. Very low-scoring game. Take the under.
They're going to figure that out.
You would hope so.
See how they figure that out. You would think they'd be able to pass the ball against the Giants, right? They're there to try throwing the ball.
Well, well, that's the thing. When Jalen Hurts throws the ball, they lose more. Because last year, they threw the ball a lot. They went 2-2. They ran the ball a lot. Then they basically ran the gauntlet the rest of the season.
Well, then they need to figure out the run. So far,
But Saquon banged up. Landon Dickerson's questionable, but supposedly he's supposed to be out 1 to 2 weeks. I have a little bit of confidence. I don't think the Giants will get the win, but they will cover this. It's 7.5 point spread.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they're going to be pissed off. I can just feel it. So, yeah. But that wraps up today's show of the Harvey Hour. Long show today. We thank you for the constant support as always. Friday, we cover the entirety of Week 6. We make our predictions. Harvey Hot Hand will continue. I already have a couple picks that I love. Hopefully the point spreads won't move too much, so you get those bets in as well. The Colts are a pick. They're -6.5. Bet the hell out of that one. Steelers -5.5. Pick that one as well. I love that pick as well. But yeah, we'll talk about all of Week 6. We'll break down Thursday Night Football as well. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We have been your host of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Night, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security